All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I've been looking forward to sharing this information with all of you. If we haven't spoken before, my name is Christopher, and I'm based in Richland, Washington. I'm a longtime vinyl collector, and I lead a team of reps in key territories across North and South America. Our main goal is supporting our seller community by providing guidance and encouraging best practices on the Discogs platform. Here's my email. Please take it down and reach out to me if you need further instructions on how to set up your shipping policy or have any other Discogs related questions. The purpose of today's presentation is to communicate what shipping policies are and how to set up a complete shipping policy. This webinar is focused on explaining the workings of the new features and helping sellers who have questions or are looking for more information on how to continue to sell and accurately charge shipping come October 1st. I will explain why this change is happening now and how it affects you. Next, I will share some tools and resources that we have in place to help you manage these changes. I will walk through the new features to the shipping editor, and then I will walk through a detailed demo on setting up a complete shipping policy in real time. Finally, I'll review some commonly, frequently asked questions, and then we can review the questions you submitted in the Q&A box. Throughout the presentation, I have colleagues manning the chat channel who will catalog as many questions as possible. To reach the Q&A box, simply scroll down to the bottom right corner of the browser and enter any questions that you have. We'll be answering them in real time where possible. So what are shipping policies? We all have basic shipping policies pre-existing in our seller terms, which are in turn communicated to buyers in a manual method. This is simply an import of those seller terms into the back end of your seller settings. As a result of setting up a shipping policy, we see cancellation rates plummet across the marketplace, and simply having a policy in place reduces the number of touch points you have with the buyer, thus reducing the chance of missed invoices or messages leading to non-paying buyer cancellations. Another future result of having a policy in place is the elimination of invoicing. Not just invoices to the buyer, but invoices from us. Soon, all fees and taxes will be taken out at the time of purchase. And there's been a lot of talk on the forums, and this is not happening now, but it's something that'll happen into the future. And I also want to make another thing abundantly clear that we are not charging fees on your shipping policies. That's just simply not happening. We'll also be streamlining the buyer experience, making the marketplace more approachable to new customers, further encouraging more traffic to your inventory. Any other e-commerce platform in 2020, customers pay at the point of purchase. We are simply modernizing the marketplace and bringing it in line to where buyers expect Discogs to be. Why now? 2020 has been a whirlwind of a year, and with that in mind, the timing of these changes might seem odd. However, these changes are not quick to make and have been in the works since at least 2018. These changes are needed so further improvements can be made to the marketplace, things that the community has been asking for a very long time. Things like improvements to want list functionalities, improvements to buyer and seller communications, improved upsell options for buyers to add more items to their orders, and improved analytics to help you understand and improve your business. In short, anything that gives sellers more control and buyers a better experience all start with having a standardized approach to shipping. It's clear from buyer feedback, market research, and a vast amount of on-site data that we need to do more to welcome and support new buyers into the community, and we are confident that this is a step in the right direction. There's a direct correlation between active buyers and increased orders. We simply want to enhance that trend. As we continue to support our sellers, we want to appeal to and welcome in more buyers into the community, and these changes support that effort in a meaningful way. We have seen since the introduction of shipping policies as an option for sellers, buyers are much more likely to purchase from a seller where they easily see all costs up front and can pay immediately. And that this has driven the trend over the last few years for a solid increase of placed orders on Discogs to be of items that have a shipping policy in place. We understand that implementing shipping policies takes time and effort, but with this latest update, we hope to make it easier for you to set up and maintain your shipping policies. We see this as a step towards being able to develop a more community requested features for the marketplace sooner. Resource walkthrough. To support our selling community, we've developed a host of online and offline resources to guide you through not only this update, but to aid all future developments. Our primary resource is our shipping policies landing page. There, we will keep up to date with all links to all resources, frequently asked questions, updates, and more. So this is really your hub for information on all things shipping. And at the conclusion of this webinar, both the full webinar and the isolated demo will be available either on that landing page or a webinar specific landing page. That way you can rewatch it and rewatch the demo for future use. If you find that among the documents we have put together, you still haven't found the answer to your questions, we have some alternatives available. Your first option is always to reach out to our community support team. They're able to take a look into your account when it comes to technical issues and specific orders. You also have my contact details to reach out directly. I'm here to help and I'm here to listen. And no seller is too large or too small. I'll help any seller that needs it. Okay, new feature, editor update. So let's dive in. We're going to walk through each key element of this update. And as mentioned earlier, there will be an opportunity for Q&A at the end of the webinar. First, the editor. Over the past few months, we have been focused on improvements that make the editor more effective. These changes draw on feedback we've received from the community, in-person discussion with sellers, and community support tickets. If you've already taken the time to set up your policies, this update will not affect those existing policies as long as you have a complete policy in place, which we're going to cover soon. They'll continue to work as they do now, but you're able to use the updated editor to add more detail to your shipping policies if you choose. Minimum order and free shipping. Local pickup and free shipping will now be a checkbox so that you can offer the option on top of your shipping method. If you choose to offer free shipping, you can set the minimum order amount for this to apply. Free shipping will be displayed to buyers on your marketplace listings and in the cart. These are set up at the policy level, meaning they'll apply alongside all of your methods you set up for a particular region. Shipping rates window. The old seller terms dropdown was often confusing as it contained shipping services that weren't specific to a buyer's country. On top of that, it wasn't possible to have multiple methods and rates using the same service name. Customizable fields will give you total control in the naming of your courier, while the buyer will only view your shipping terms which are appropriate to their region. This simplifies the buying process while increasing transparency. Formats and weights. Formats and weights. You can now choose whether you want your shipping policy to apply to all formats or narrow it down to via specific format, which will ultimately increase accuracy. Combining weight or quantity with a format in your shipping method will provide greater detail to your policies and pricing. I will go through this in detail during the demo. Default weights. Now the weight ranges of each format are preset to default amounts as we've seen above, with formats not seen to be populated with default weights shortly. If you wish to adjust a specific weight of an obscure item like a metal case box set, you can do this through the individual item page or more conveniently through Nearmint, our backend inventory management tool. Merged orders and offers. Shipping policies will be applied automatically to merged orders and orders after accepting offers. The policy will apply to the merged order where applicable. You'll still have the freedom to edit the amount you charge for shipping on offers accepted if part of the deal you struck included discounting or free shipping. Okay, what is a complete shipping policy? If you hadn't listened to anything so far, please pay attention to this particular slide, as this is the most important part of the presentation outside of the demo itself. It is critical to define what a complete shipping policy is. This is perhaps the most important part of the presentation, as it affects your entire shipping policy and whether or not your inventory will be available after October 1st. Having a complete shipping policy in place means that for every region you choose to sell to and for every format, you have a policy in place that covers every possible order made to your shop. There are a few key elements needed to ensure all of your regions are covered. Note that we'll go over this in more detail when I start the demo. The first thing that you need for a complete shipping policy is that only the regions you sell to have a policy in place. Order values on a complete policy will start at 0, and this ensures that the policy covers all price points. Shipping costs must be calculated incrementally by quantity or weight and must have a final value of and up to ensure all values are covered. You can also offer free shipping above a certain dollar amount that will cover orders above that threshold. So how do I implement this? I recommend first setting up an all formats blanket policy by either weight or quantity in each of the regions you sell to, then set up individual format policies under that umbrella policy if there are specific shipping details in your seller terms for specific formats. An individual format policy will always be presented to the buyer first. However, if you do not have all formats blanket policy in place for each region, your items will not be available in any format. It's really important, so I will repeat it. If your shipping policies are not complete for the regions that you sell to, none of your listings for that region will appear in the marketplace. I can't stress that enough. In the next section, I'll be demonstrating how to set up a full shipping policy for all regions and provide more detail on how to achieve it. What will happen if I have no shipping policy in place? If you do not have a complete shipping policy set up for the regions you sell to, or it doesn't cover all of your potential orders, your listings will show up as unavailable in the buyer's region. You won't be blocked or banned from the marketplace, but prospective buyers won't be able to purchase from you. For example, if you're selling a 7-inch and LPs, but you've only have a shipping policy set up for a 7-inch, none of your items will show as available in the marketplace. This is to avoid buyers adding items to your shop that aren't covered with a policy. Okay, on to the demo. I got some feedback from the last webinar, and so I'm taking a bit of a different approach with this demo here. I'm going to be showing you guys a few different options for setting up your policy. I'm going to show you what I use for my personal store. I'm going to show you a quantity-based shipping policy, and then a weight-based policy. And the other piece of feedback is the last time I just used arbitrary pricing, but what you're gonna see today is actual real world pricing and policies that I've taken from large volume sellers. And then you're also gonna see a small volume seller like me and what that policy might look like. So again, everything you're gonna see today is real world and taken from real sellers. Okay, let's take a look at my shop. So this is me, Taro Patch Records. I specialize in Hawaiian music. Very humble shop, but a good example of a buttoned up shipping policy. So before I reset and start from scratch, I just want to show you guys what my policies look like so you can get an idea of what a simple complete shipping policy is. So another big change that happened in the last couple of weeks is we have these, the policy is complete icons here on the right to let you know that you're good to go and your policy is complete. If your policy is incomplete, it'll show a different notification with a warning symbol. So I have a very simple policy. I only ship to the United States, Japan, and Canada. My US policy is by quantity. It's medium mail. It's $5 for the first item and $1 for each additional item. Again, this is a complete shipping policy because it has all formats. It starts at 0, and I have an and up value here. So this basically covers any possible format or quantity that is sold in my shop. I also label this medium mail. I could add US if you want. And then I also have free shipping on orders up to $100. I'll just show you my international or my Japan shipping policy. Again, it's complete, all formats, starts at 0 with an and up value. Similar to Canada, it's all formats, starts at 15, 2 and up, $1 for each additional item. So I just wanted to show you that simply. It's a very simple shipping policy, but I'm going to reset now and I'll start from scratch. Okay, I think it's beneficial here to take a look at the seller terms that I'm going to be entering into the editor. So let's, oh, it's not letting me do that. Okay, I'll just speak it verbally. So I'm gonna set up a U.S. domestic policy and an international policy. I'm gonna do an all formats complete shipping policy for media mail, and then I'm gonna do individual formats by quantity for both LP and small formats. So let's start with the U.S. So this is, you can notice the policy is incomplete and you have this warning symbol here. So if you see this on any of your policies, there's something wrong. And we've added this this pop-up here that will tell you what's wrong and help you isolate it. And again, I can't stress this enough. If you have any issues, please reach out to me, set up a meeting, and we can get it taken care of. In most cases, it takes me 15 to 20 minutes to figure out what's gone wrong and to fix it. So it's really not that big of a time suck. Okay, let's create our method. So I'm doing USPS media mail. I'm going to give myself 14 days to deliver domestically with some of the delays that we're seeing at the Postal Service. So I'm going to say, I'm doing this in all formats, and I'm going to say my first item is $4. And each additional item is $1. My colleague Louis gave me a good insight onto how to read this. So kind of read it like a sentence, right? So 2 and up is $1 per each additional one item. And so now this policy is complete. However, I want to give my, say I want to give my buyers a chance to use a different, a quicker method, right? They want to pay extra for a priority. So I'm going to set up an individual format policy for large LPs and small formats. So that way the buyer will be able to choose from a drop down at checkout which shipping method they prefer. So we're going to call this USPS. And this one we're going to give 2 to 7 days because it is a quicker service. So I know priority mail is going to be $10 for the first, and $2 for each additional one item. Okay, so this is an individual format policy specifically for priority mail and large vinyl. So it's also critical that we save on every juncture. The last webinar, I made a mistake and went back to my store and didn't save, so all my work didn't translate. So just I make it a habit to hit save every time I set up a new policy. Okay, so I have my all formats policy, I have my individual vinyl large policy, and now I'm going to set up these small formats for USPS priority. Again, I'm giving my buyers a choice between which shipping method they prefer. You don't have to give them choice. Like I mentioned when you looked at my original policy, all I had was an all formats policy, and that's perfectly fine. And that covers everything. But some people, we want to give sellers more control and give buyers more choice. So that's why I'm showing you guys this today. Choice is good. So 2 to 7. Priority mail for small formats is $4. And it's 50 cents per each additional. And I want to be clear too on another thing. You have the option to offer a flat rate. You know, say you go up to over 10 items, you can offer a flat rate for shipping. So it doesn't always have to be per each additional item, but it's just very common for this to happen. I know a lot of people's U.S. domestic policy, they ship any number of items for $5, and that would be a flat fee addition to your policy. So again, this is an individual policy, priority mail, Small formats, first one is $4, each additional is 50 cents. So I'm gonna go ahead and save. So before I move on to international, I wanna point out a key detail in how you set up the hierarchy that is shown here. So if these policies sit above the all formats policy, the buyer is going to see this first in the drop down at checkout. It really depends on what you want the buyer to see and how you want to shape their experience. So for me, I'd rather give them media mail first as a default. And if they want to choose a more expensive, quicker method, they can choose that from the drop down. When I'm done setting up this complete shipping policy, we'll go ahead and do a test order so that you can see what that looks like in the dropdown. I'll go through these and pause if anyone wants to take a screenshot here. I'll just pause for 5 seconds on each. Okay, so we have US set up. I'm now going to set up international. Again, this policy is taken from one of our largest volume sellers, and it's a pattern I've noticed that the more volume you do, the simpler your policy is. And I try to advocate for the most simplest policy across the board. However, we do give you guys the option to make it as detailed and complicated as you wish. We want to make sure that you do what's right for your business. So I don't need North America, so I'm going to delete this policy. Okay, now I have the entire world. So because I have one for the US, I'm going to deselect the United States here, just so there's no confusion. Okay, first I'm going to set up my all formats blanket policy, and this is airmail. And I'm going to say 14 to 30 days for international shipments. Again, my blanket policy starts at 0, all formats, and we're soon going to have this the end up value here. So the rates that this seller gets is $19 plus an additional $6. So let's double check. Okay, policy is complete. Save. So now I want to set up an individual policy for small formats because it's cheaper to send the small format. So I want to make sure I have a policy in place to cover that, these smaller formats. So again, 14 to 30 days. Specific formats, we're going to do small. And for my small formats, it's $12 for the first item. It's $1 per each additional. Save. Okay, so that I just set up a complete shipping policy for the rest of the world or my international orders. Again, make sure you pay attention to this hierarchy so that you know which one's going to get served first in the drop down to a buyer. And I'll be clear that any policy that is active is going to show up for the buyer, regardless of how many policies you set up. If they're active, they will be served to the buyer for their choice of shipping method. So let's save this. Okay, let's take a look at my store so that we can, I'm gonna put a fake order in and we'll see how it looks in the dropdown. Do a new incognito window. Well, actually, I'm gonna need my account. Hold on, guys, give me a second here. Okay, so now I'm using my actual personal account to access my store. I just want to place an order so that you can see. So as you can see, the policy that I set up is showing $4 on domestic shipping. If I click the shipping, these are the terms that I just set up. Oh, and I'm missing, I wanted to have that free shipping, so I'll go back in and add that later, but let's just add a few to the cart. So you can notice the media mail is served first, and then I have the option to pick priority mail if that is what I want. I just wanted to show you guys this drop down and how that functionality works. Okay. Before I start the weight-based policy, I'm gonna activate that free shipping so that you guys can see what it looks like when it's enabled in your store. So I'm gonna do free shipping for orders over 100. Save changes. So let's go back to my store. I just want to show you guys this real quick. So you notice when I made the free shipping, this banner drop down comes up at the header, which is a really nice feature to let buyers know that if they reach a threshold, they can get free shipping. So I always like to offer that. Okay, we're doing good on time. So far I showed you my simple, humble policy for my store that only has all formats. We set up a quantity-based real-world policy. I'm going to reset now, and I'm going to show you a weight-based real-world policy just so that you get a comprehensive view of your options. Okay, so first we're going to do our all formats blanket policy. I'm going to call this USPS media mail. Give me 14 days per usual. And this one I'm going to do by weight. So I'm going to click this by weight field here. So obviously there's the gram pound discrepancy. So I like to go to Google. They have a pounds to grams conversion right here. Very handy. I did the math before in preparation for this webinar, so I'm just going to do it on the fly here. So 1 to 566 grams is going to be 395. 567 grams and up is going to be $1 per each additional 170 grams. So this is a complete policy. Again, I can't stress this enough, so I'll say it again. My threshold starts at 0. All formats are selected, and I have an and up value. So this covers any possible order in my store. And weight, I've noticed that people use weights because it includes packaging and everything, and it's a more of a one-to-one, but you have to decide how you want it to be displayed to buyers, if you prefer it to be weight-based or quantity-based. I know that 90% of US sellers use quantity, but it's perfectly acceptable to use weight, and it's probably gonna cover more options if you use the weight-based, like a weird box set or some Metallica metal-based packaging or something like that. So this is USPS media mail. I'm going to save my changes. And I'm going to add, now I want to do a priority mail by weight. So I'll give myself 14 days. And again, this is a real world policy that I took from a seller that I chatted with last week. So And you can get as granular as you want. You can do this by the gram if you prefer, which might be overkill, but you know, the point is that the editor can do almost any possibility that you might have from a shipping perspective. It's 1350. And then now this is the threshold that I want to stop these increments, and I'm going to do 1,815 grams and up is going to be an extra 250 per each additional 226 grams, which is about a half a pound. Okay, I'm going to save. Okay, so I'll open that up again. Another error here, so make sure it's selected by weight. So let's go through this again. All formats. This is priority mail. These are my thresholds, and from this gram amount per each additional 226 gram is 250. So what the buyer is going to see when they purchase an album from me or any format, because this is an all formats policy, they're first going to see the medium mail costs in the drop down, because that's the highest. They're then going to see the priority mail option for a quicker delivery. I'm going to make this 7 days. And you know, these I got this question last week. You know, these are just guidelines. There's no punitive, you know, something punitive that's going to happen if it doesn't make it in 7 days. This is just kind of a guideline for your buyers. Save. Okay, I'm going to now set up international policy by weight. So again, I don't need North America, so I'm going to delete that. Entire world. Make sure that the US is not selected. And in both of these both of these options I showed you by weight and quantity, I grouped international into one big group just to simplify the webinar. But you have the option to break out Europe, break out Asia, break out Africa, break out Canada, however you see fit, depending on the rates or the service provider that you go with. And again, I'm doing rest of world here as to simplify the webinar, but the sellers whom I use this, took their policies from, they have it set up this way as well. So I know that these prices are accurate per their shipping policy. I just want to make it clear that you have control to isolate certain territories if you feel it necessary. Okay, so again, we're doing rest of world weight-based policy, and I'm doing my all formats blanket policy, and this is going to be first class international. So I'm going to give myself 30 days here. I'll say 7 days. 206 grams or half a pound is 1445. Oh, I just, I got a ping from my colleague saying that removing the US isn't necessary. I just do that as, just because I want it to be really detailed, but I'm just getting a ping that isn't necessary. Okay, sorry, I digress. 227 grams and up is $10 per each additional 226 grams. Okay, so this is a complete policy. Threshold starts at 0, all formats and up, save. Okay, so now I have a fully fleshed out shipping policy by weight for the US domestic. I'm giving them 2 options. And one thing that is worth noting is because it's priority, you have the option to say express. I know, again, these are sort of arbitrary labels. We tried to make them as nimble as possible, right? Like as generic as possible. So you have that option to make this express, since it's a faster way to get the package, but that's completely up to you. Save changes. So we can go ahead and try to do a test order again, just so that you guys can, we can see the way that the priority mail shows up. Okay, so now we're showing my weight-based policy here. Again, this is what I just set up, and it's served to the US region accordingly. I'm gonna add to cart. So again, I have the option, I can pay $3.95 for media mail and get it in 2 weeks, or I can spend the extra $9.50 for priority mail to get this CD in 7 business days. Again, the delivery options are here. So, you know, this is really handy, and it gives you a lot of options for how you want to handle shipping with your buyers. Okay, I will go back into the editor so that you guys can get another look at a weight-based policy. We're doing pretty good on time, so I will pause here on these so you guys can get a look, take a screenshot if you need to. And because my store is live, I'm gonna go back and restore the previous methods that I set up, that I started with. So essentially you guys are gonna get 3 different demos today, one by weight, one by quantity, and one, mine is also by quantity, but it's a lot simpler method. So we'll go through that again. Okay, so I will reset my policies, and I'm gonna jam through this because I pretty much know my policies by heart at this point, so I'm just gonna do it pretty quickly. For each additional, so all formats starts at 0. Oh, I forgot free shipping at $100. Save changes. I don't need this policy. And then I'm gonna do Japan. Oh. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. I know it's a little jarring here, but let me just start from scratch. So again, my Japan policy is all formats. First one's 20, $5 for each additional, sent via airmail. Okay, I'll do Canada later because I do want to go through some frequently asked questions. So now I'm pretty much back to where I was at the beginning. Okay. Okay, let's cover some frequently asked questions. Will customer interactions still exist? Yes, of course, customer interactions will still exist, but we simply want to streamline the nuts and bolts of this process and leave communication open between both buyer and seller. Messaging on orders will be present, and buyers will still have multiple contact options for interaction. And we understand that this dialogue is essential when purchasing records, either in real life or online. You'll still have the opportunity to edit invoices should the need arise. Default weights are not 100% accurate. You can amend the weight of certain items on item listing page or in bulk via the CSV upload and download process. You can then filter by format quickly and, for example, update all gatefold LPs in one shot. This gives you as a seller the flexibility to make weights as accurate as you need them to be. How can I offer shipping discounts? Yes, you can offer shipping discounts over certain amounts, but these will be preset within your settings. You can, of course, always discount directly to the customer via PayPal if you wish to offer a discount on what's already been paid. The jewel case scenario. A topic that comes up frequently amongst sellers and buyers was how to accommodate for bulk or buyers that want bulk CD orders shipped without jewel cases. Now with our changes to the shipping editor, you can set up as many options as you need. In a situation like this with CDs, you can offer all your varied shipping options either with or without jewel cases to encourage buyers to take advantage, save on postage, and most importantly, add more items to their order. So the jewel case, you would just make a separate policy and label it no jewel case, and then they could pick that option at checkout. Okay, I haven't been monitoring the chat or the Q&A box. How are we looking there? Let's see. Okay, I'm getting a note from my colleague saying that we're all clear. I'm gonna go back here to my email. I can't make it clear enough that we understand that this transition it requires some work, and we have resources available to you, and please do not hesitate to reach out to me personally with questions. I'm very responsive on email. I can sometimes meet you on the same day. So just don't hesitate to reach out. And again, this demo will be made available via YouTube and our resource page. It'll probably take us a day or two to edit down and get it all processed, but we'll shoot out an email to all attendees once that is available. Okay, we're ending a little early today. But again, thank you for joining me. We really appreciate you. And you know, our seller community is the backbone of our community. So we really appreciate your time and effort, and we're here to help.